Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sales Chatter. It's Friday, the day that we've been waiting for. Where has this month gone? Where has this week gone? I'm your co host, Ryan Mohammed, with our mission of getting 10,000 reps to hit a million GP. My man, the bodacious cowboy, the president and CEO of RGTX Logistics Solutions, Jeff Dickinson. Good morning, brother. How you doing this morning?
Good, my man. I can't believe it's Friday already. I don't know where the hell this week went by, but it went by quick. So you know what? Let's do this.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
I gotta say, I'm loving that we both got like the intro down pat. We could do it with our eyes closed. We're killing it with the intro. We got everybody kind of going up. So, Jeff, like we said, this week was one of the only weeks that it wasn't a short week. So we were able to kind of get that full 5 days. For me, it's been crazy busy, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-development stuff I've been kind of going through and personal development and looking at different things. Like I said, I do Toastmasters. I do some, I had a great conversation with Daman, our corporate sponsor, for this show yesterday. We spoke for like 4 hours yesterday and really, 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 really dug deep. He's an amazing person and happy to see that. Jeff, recap the week, man. And I don't want you to give us like a 1 minute recap or a 2 minute recap. Go to town, man. Go in depth, man. What was your week looking like? Your ups, your downs, maybe. And like I know you've had a couple shows kind of come out this week. Let the audience know, my man.
Yeah. Excellent week. Things definitely picked up. Working on several projects. You can see it in my board back there. Just a fabulous week. Went to the International Commerce Club of New Jersey event on Wednesday night. It was great to get back out there and meet a few folks. Good time. Actually, it was my first time there in a very, very, very long time. So it was great. Just a lot of things, man. New clients, new opportunities. Hold My Beer was yesterday on our podcast, and it was a good show, really engaging. It was a good one. Let's see, and today, oh man, I mean, I really want to have the opportunity to sit back because it's been like a unbelievable week. I mean, just crazy phone calls, just and I don't complain about it. This is not a complaint, man. This is why I've been in it for a long time. It's just like you live for these things that to happen, but they're coming pretty quick now. So all good, man. All good.
Yeah, I
How
feel.
about you? How about you? I mean, just
Yeah.
crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's been, this week has been a lot of fun and like this is logistics, right? And I think for me, I felt like if I could describe it maybe in a phrase or something like that, I feel like the spout it just got turned a little bit, it got turned on a little bit. So things are coming through definitely that pipeline and it started great. I think we had some snow out here, got to connect a little bit more family. Didn't like the shoveling, so we're gonna have to figure out to get a snow blower or something like that. But mind you, I only got like a one car garage, so what am I complaining about for like 30 minutes of shoveling? But with that being said, Jeff, my biggest takeaway for this week, like I said, it's every time I go to Toastmasters, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And the speech that was given as the guest speaker was probably one of the best I've ever heard. And there's a quote with me that I will probably say for the rest of my life is like, is just saying like, if serving is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. And I think that's what we need to understand in our industry. I know I see it all over LinkedIn. I try not to take too much of LinkedIn because I just feel like it's a little bit redundant and things like that. And it's just not beneficial for my workday personally, but there's a lot of good nuggets on there. And I do want to give you a kudos. I think I did see this morning or yesterday that there's going to be the Bodacious Cowboy consulting maybe in the near future, with logistics professionals wanting to reach out to you and things like that. So I'll get you to talk a little bit more about that after here. And then, let's just keep it, we're providing value to people. We had Nerf on yesterday. It was I watched it again on my TV last night, and just the insight he has, the personability that he has, and it just felt like he's done this a million times, if that makes sense. He just has that. you and I obviously always bounce back, and we're pretty well with these guests that we bring on, but just the value that we're giving, right? So sticking to the themes and not having like random discussions and things like that, for at least Monday to Thursday. Friday we could talk about whatever we want to talk about. But Jeff, yeah, I do want to, if you're comfortable with it, I would love to kind of hear what that kind of next step in terms of like the Jeff Dickinson consulting side of it is looking like.
Yeah, I've been doing consulting on the side. Been doing it for many, many years. And this is just something to give back, but it's just not myself. I'm putting something together. I can't go into it much right now because it's like in the total beginning stage. But what I want to try to do is help grads that are coming out of school, supply chain, logistics industry, that sure, they've got their degree, they've got those case studies, they're excited to get into the field, but they're not really keyed into any specific area of the supply chain logistics. They want to enter it, but they're kind of like, I'm not really sure what I really like, because let's face it, there's so many different avenues in logistics and supply chain that one can take. It's kind of hard to narrow it down. So what I'm trying to do is to help those candidates that are out there that are getting out into the industry, that are going to start interviewing, try to pave that path for them, based upon their likes and dislikes, and get other people involved who will talk to them as well. No charge whatsoever. Just giving back and helping them to succeed. And, I'm at that point with a few others that want to do that same thing. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully it takes off, and we'll see. The other thing too, we're talking about anything. You talked about Toastmasters, and this is awesome. So it's like the podcast here. I wasn't that type of person that want to get in front of the camera and start chatting and all this other kind of stuff, and then it became kind of natural. And one of the things that I did, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, this 3PL company that I helped build decades ago. We became very, very good friends, and they were celebrating their 40th year. I haven't seen them for a long, long time, and they invited me to go to this big event, catered and everything like that. So it was all about them, and they had their customers there, and they had people that worked for them, and all this other kind of stuff. Probably about 150, maybe 200 people in there. And they had casino night and all this other kind of stuff. So it got down to people talking about, how they began and so forth and so on. And this was the first time that I got up with a mic in front of 200 people and started chatting. And that was the breaking point for me, where I felt so comfortable. It was that shock. Can I talk in front of people? I'm not that introvert, I'm that extrovert, but that sealed the deal. And when the people stood up and gave me a round of applause and stuff like that, man, that's like the greatest feeling. I can't explain it, but until you're there, and I know a lot of people who are watching this or whatever, I strongly advise you to do that. It's one of the scariest freaking shits that you'll ever do in your life. But man, once you do it, it's awesome. It's awesome, man.
It's like with everything, right? You kind of want to start with it, and then hey, if it's scary, then go for it, man. It just never for you. Like my background is that I've been playing music, like I said, since I was 8 years old. So I've been performing in front of crowds since I was 10 years old. 6 years ago, I performed in front of, I think it was like 25,000 people downtown in Toronto.
Nice.
My band and I, we performed right before the main headliner came on. They were having an event downtown Toronto, and there's always going to be that little bit of a jittery, like maybe like 5 minutes before we go on stage. But that once we're out there, man, and you start hitting that first note, or even if you're saying a speech, you start saying like the first couple words, you're like, okay, I got these. And for us, it's always about kind of having the crowd in the palm of your hand, and having them wanting to go more. And for me, Jeff, what I've learned, I've taken that experience and I've pushed that into my logistics experience as well. So when I'm on scheduled calls with customers or talking to carriers, I'm like, okay, what can I ask as we're talking about it that I can have them engaged, have them actually want to actually listen, not that as weird as it sounds, how do I get them to stay rather than them going to like the concession cart to go get some beer during our performance or get some food or something like that, right? How do I get them engaged? How do I get them to, hey, I want to take a look at these guys if they're on Spotify, or take a look on Instagram to see more about them? And I think that's what's important when it comes to like logistics for us. And like you said, I love that you said that. Like a couple years ago, you did the public speaking thing, and
Yeah.
what I love about Toastmasters, I'll talk about this is the last time I talk about Toastmasters because I'm such a
No, no,
fan.
no.
But what I love is that they're so structured.
Yeah.
So let me give you an experience here. So I started there 3 weeks ago, and I thought I would have to go in first 5 minutes. They'll make me stand up, say who I am, what I do, why am I here, and all this stuff. The complete opposite. In the 3 times that I've gone, Jeff, I've probably spoken for maybe a minute every single time. And that's because I'm participating in the games.
Right.
And that's how they're set up. They're set up for very structure. I'm literally looking at their agenda right now. They have everything planned to the T, and they stick to it. And I thought about this, and I talked to my wife about that. I was like, in my life right now, a lot of things are kind of like freestyle. Like we come on podcast, we know what we're going to be talking about, but we don't know where we're going to go. There's no destination, right? We know what we're going to talk about, and then with my sales calls and with my emails and talking to customers and things like that, and then stuff I do with the dog shelters and things like that, and then my other business that I got going, it's not structured. So I do appreciate that structure, right? I think
Yeah.
about like elementary school. We were in school. We knew what course we're going to take. We know when recess is. We know when this thing is. So I feel like that balance between structure and a little bit of chaos is great. Would love to kind of get your thoughts on a little bit of structure.
Yeah. Structure is great. Where I used to work, Snyder National, highly structured. A lot of military there. So, when you got military involved, it's pretty structured. It's like boom, 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 boom. And of course, you get to engage your own thoughts and your principles and be able to create as well. But the way they go about it is extremely structured. They have a goal, they have an objective, and everybody is on it to make it happen. It's such a team effort, and that's just like being in the military and relying on your troop next to you to cover your ass, pretty much. And likewise, it's the same type of mentality. And I love that. I'm structured, I'm detailed. When you were talking about the Toastmasters and engaging, some of the biggest things that you can do as a logistics service provider is when you're talking to prospects and you go to their facility and you sit down with them. Like, I'm looking at you through a lens, right? But when you're looking at that individual and you can see that and hear that tone and that body language and watching what they're doing, are they twiddling their thumbs, or are they looking up here or that, or are they swallowing hard, are they blinking a lot? It tells you a story on whether or not you are getting through or you're really distant from what you should be doing. So it helps your mind to create the questions that need to be asked in order to have an actionable response. That's what you're looking for. That opens up those doors. So that's part of the structure too, right? That's part of the engagement, the structure. You're going in there with a plan, right? So, I believe in it strongly. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome. And one thing, good morning to Daman. One of the things that came up in our conversation yesterday was, always have
And
like
one,
the end goal in mind. Yeah, like he's awesome. And, have the end goal in mind and know that, hey, whatever end goal that you're going to have, there's going to be always some kind of external force. So if you do good, things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen to you. And obviously great things have happened to you, Jeff, because you've done things the right way. Like, there's no
no,
shortcuts.
no. I got to stop you there. No, I failed. And
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to admit it. Was I always successful? Hell no, man. I paid such a huge price to get to where I'm at right now and took a lot of heat. But I learned from that, and I appreciated all my bosses that put that weight on my shoulders and said, get it done, and didn't tell me how to do it, but get it done. And they were there to support me and help me. But it was some of the largest obstacles. That's why today, I don't care what kind of obstacle is thrown at me.
This is so funny. He's talking about obstacles and he refuses to get his internet fixed. But with that being said, it's maybe one day the biggest obstacle you'll actually fix is getting your internet fixed, buddy.
I was just about to say that. I said, "Here's the biggest obstacle, son of a," But no, serious. I have absolutely no stress. I used to because I always used to overthink every freaking thing. And let me tell you, logistics, you get blindsided every single day. You expect that. So tomorrow, I'm not expecting anything, but I know something's going to happen. You're in this industry. You know it's going to happen. The forces are against you in this industry. It really is.
I think it just goes back to like based on my experience as well that I've ever always kind of had there's certain things that like you said being proactive and things like that, and you like you said Saturday for me my aim and the goal is like my Saturday and Sundays I'm spending that with family and doing other things and doing hobbies and things like that.
But the thing is that you plan the plan, right? And you got this because you always carry it, right? No matter where you go. I mean, I do, and it's there. And you don't expect the customer, call you.
What if I was to tell you, Jeff, and just we're pinballing here. What if I was to tell you I haven't had a business call on the weekend? I want to say since June of last year. I've never had to deal with anything on the weekend.
That's awesome. No, but I'm saying either have I. But you know what? Even though I am 4 years in my business. I'm always recreating myself in my business, and I do it every single day. I don't purposely do it, but it's part of my mindset. So I wake up in the morning and I jump into the seat. Again, I just do it 7 days a week, and I start writing notes down and everything like that. It doesn't take time away from me. No, my wife's sleeping. So what am I going to do? Sit there and just, drink a cup of coffee and stare out at the lake? No, I'm not going to do.
You're not catching up your reruns of Jersey Shore from like Thursday night. You're like catching up all your DVR and PVR stuff, and I get that to an extent. It's also and you know what? When you love what you do, right? And I think for me, the one thing is that not to necessarily get stuck. Feeling like I have to do this, right? And I would never, let's say I'm out grocery shopping or something like that. I don't be like, oh my God, I gotta go home right now, and deal with this situation because it's the way you kind of set it up too. And, for me, I think, and we're talking about logistics, I'm sure we're talking about logistics, but let's have some fun with it. But, I guess that's who we are, right? That's part of our identity.
That's it. I got a question for you though. I have a question for you. All right. You say you don't work on the weekends and it's family time. Okay.
Yep.
Let me propose an issue to you, and I'm curious of how you would handle it. All right. So you have a load of lobsters that you just picked up on a Friday, right?
Yep.
You're not working on the weekend. It's snowing. That truck crashes. If you get the update and someone reaches out to you, are you answering that phone or are you waiting till Monday to take care of it?
Okay. So are we talking hypothetically or actual realistically?
No, realistically.
Okay. So realistically, here's how I kind of not necessarily deflect it. Yeah, here's how I deflect that question. We don't do pickups on Fridays. Our runs are our runs go from like Thursday. They're delivered by Friday morning latest. So the way that we've kind of set it up and everything like that is that it's Monday through Thursday. So hypothetically, I guess, obviously I would answer that call because that is something that's important to me. But with that being said, I've set up my life that way. Like, hey, there could be shipments on Fridays that they do or on weekends. I don't want that. I'm not interested in that stuff. So that's my answer to that because I understand that, like we've always said, to get what you really want to get, you got to sacrifice something, right? So if I want all that market share and I want all that, and hey, the revenue is going to go up, then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do that. That's a sacrifice that's needed. But then I understand that, hey, if my revenue goes up, that's more money in my pocket. What am I going to do with that? Am I going to give more, or is that just going to highlight me? Let's say buy more booze, or I buy all these lavish things that it doesn't highlight me as a person. So for me, it's kind of like eat small, be happy, be comfortable, and like you'll never see Ryan in a Ferrari as much as I'd love to, but it's just those are just my core values, man. I just rather give away, So that's the way. So that's a hypothetical. So I'll flip that back to you, Jeff. Are you picking up that call?
I am. I definitely am, and I'll reflect on the time that I was at Ford Motor Company in Jaguar, when you've got lines down and just absolutely. I mean, I'm like stumbling for words because there's really no words to really like tell you what it's like unless you lived it. But when you have deadlines and it has to be there, and no matter what mode you have it, if that breaks down, you got to bend over backwards and maybe 2 or 3 times and do backwards somersaults and everything to get that damn product. If it's on a train, you got to stop a train. You got to put it on over the road, and you've got to get it to that final destination. No matter what, there is absolutely no excuses. Excuses are out to the wind. Act of gods are out to the wind, man. They don't even exist in the automotive thing. They do not accept that thing. So you have to be beyond creative. You have to have that solution-oriented mind, thinking totally outside the box, like hanging off a cliff by your nail and thinking about something that you never thought about because it never happened, but it does happen, and react immediately. So working 7 days a week was like, was it a piece of cake? No, but it taught me to make it a piece of cake. That makes
That's
sense.
crazy. No, that's crazy because like even when you were nerf for talking, like full transparency, I've never done automotive because I've heard stories like
You
that,
don't want
and
to do it.
I don't want to. Yeah, no, like I said, I it's not for me. I think I had a customer. They did the dashboards, like the plastic
Yeah.
whatever dashboards for companies. They did the molding. They were a plastic injection molding company, whatever, and they were a great person to work with and things like that. And we would do the shipments that wasn't urgency, that lines were down. And I think one time they reached out to us like, hey, the lines were down and things like that, and they need a truck there in 30 minutes and stuff like that. And hey, I'm going to be vulnerable by saying that we tried, but it wasn't urgency for me to be like, I need to get this covered. At the end of the day, I know that as bad as this sounds, Jeff, if I can't cover it, I know somebody else will be. And that doesn't make me less of a salesperson or as a logistics
No.
solution provider. It's just, hey, this is just not it doesn't fit under my wheelhouse. I'm not an expedite guy, but there's somebody who will be, right? Like you can reach out to Nicole, Glenn, and Candor. They're the best at it, So it's one of those things. So I know
Absolutely.
yeah, exactly, right? So it's like, like as Damon says here, this is what they've signed up for, and they're sensitive freight. So here's the cool thing about Damon too is that if he expects his drivers to be 24/7, 365, that means he is too. That's what he signed up for, and that's what
All right. This is the one of the best signs of a great leader. Okay. A good leader can leave his or her office and know it's like when the cat is gone, the mice plays, right? You've heard of that, right? But it's when the cat is gone and the mice don't play and things operate just the way that you created, whether you're in the office or out of the office.
Yep.
That's a good leadership skill to have when you can rely on those type of people. Now, Daman, he works 24/7, but I can guarantee you, he's got some key people in strategic areas within his business that he knows that they can handle anything that's being thrown at them. But he is available 24/7. That if he gets a call and they need his assistant, I'll bet you that he picks the phone up at 4 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning, because when that phone rings, there's a problem. It doesn't ring because there's no problem at that time in the morning. It's like it's like when you get a call from your mom or dad at that time in the morning. It's no good. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of like that gut feeling, that swallowing hard, that something, the shit hit the fan. Let's put it that way. So, I mean, that's what a good leader is, when you put the right troops in the right areas and that they pick up the pieces and move it forward, whether you are there or not.
That's amazing, and realizing that as being a leader, as well as David always mentions here. It's kind of funny you said that because my father-in-law, he's an engineer, so he goes from literally country to country every single week, and he just looks at blueprints and he approves like he does engineering work. I don't know exactly, but he's in Germany this week, so I got a text message at like 4 o'clock our local time, so I'm like, holy shit, something's wrong, and then I woke up to it, and it was just like, hey, I just wanted to confirm something for the weekend, but it wasn't important, but it's just like those. Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my god, we're gonna have to make this drive, but it's cool to say that. Jeff, I got a question for you. Let's have not fun, but let's take something here. For me, okay, this is a good one for you, Jeff.
Okay.
Put logistics aside, put everything aside. If you were to open up a store, what would you sell?
What would I sell?
And it's brick and mortar. You're there. No online stuff. No side hustle. 100% committed. What would you sell?
There's two things that I would sell. I would sell high-end artwork, and I would sell high-end dog supplies, pet supplies. And the reason
Okay.
why is that I did it with my wife for 18 years, and I did dogs for 18 years. And if I had to fall back on something, man, I would do that in a flash, because like that's two areas of our lives that I truly love. I mean, my wife is a published artist. She's been written up all over the world. Um, you know, she's really good, And I used to work in a 10 by 10 tent with her over the weekends and at these big events in Philadelphia and all over the place at these art shows, working side by side. That's why I guess we're pretty congruent. We get along. But yeah, that's exactly what I would do. Like,
Okay, elaborate a little bit more. I never knew this. I never knew about the artwork stuff. I knew a little bit about the dog stuff, but the artwork. Tell like, so she's like, does she still do it? Like, is she still like
no,
okay?
no. I mean, she's she's got her master's in fine arts and illustration, and she worked for Hallmark Cards, and she developed. And it's really funny. The stuff that's on eBay out of these high-end art stores, like down in Palm Beach and Palm Springs and all over the place, they call her work vintage, and we just started cracking up, and we see the price on it. And I told her, I said, Jeanette, why don't you call up that art gallery and say, I'll put my signature. It says Jeanette on the bottom of it, but I said, charge them $500 and go down there and put your signature on every single one. It's the Art Deco women of the 30s, 20s and 30s, big hats, lips, red lips, black. I mean, she does cross hatching with they call it technique that you do with pencil when you see these people, outlines and stuff. She draws animals, all different kinds of stuff, But what happened is that when she got published a long time ago, I saw her work like 84 hours straight in a row to meet a deadline. And they made millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars off of her. And she was really pumped. And she signed off on the contract, and it was like 10% of 10% of 10%, which left her like with nothing. And she was very disgruntled and stuff like that. She went out on her own, and we did some custom artwork after that, and she dropped it for a very, very long time. I mean, if you asked her to draw a horse, if you were sitting at a diner having dinner with her, and you go, "Oh, you're a drawer? Can you draw this?" Boom, she just draw it up. It's still in her head. But I think when she retires, she may get back into it, and I would support her like there's no tomorrow. She's very, very, very good. Very good.
What was that
I would
feeling? Can
say
you describe
that if she wasn't my wife. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, awesome.
That's amazing to hear, and I love hearing stories like this. Jeff, I want to ask you another question to follow up on that. What was the feeling like when you first saw her first painting, and when you saw her like make her like first sale in person? You saw the sale itself kind of happening for yourself.
It started out when I first started dating my wife, and I used to pick her up at FIT and Parsons that she went to. And when we used to go to Studio 54 in the city, and I didn't know, what she really did. I wasn't an art person, and then she showed me, and I was like, I mean, my wife was lived in France, and so she used to go to the Louvre and study artwork over there with Mona Lisa and all that kind of stuff is there. And she lived there for many years, so she was a good study. And then when I saw her royalty, I was like, in the 80s, I was like,
Jaw dropped.
like,
It's
holy shit. So, I mean, but she put a ton of work in. She had 7 years of college and stuff like that. But yeah, good stuff,
amazing,
man.
No, I love these conversations, because for me, the reason why I asked that follow-up question, Jeff, I love when a coach shows why they became a coach. And I always go back to this story. I was watching, there was this old man, fat guy, he's old, bald and stuff like that. He was in a gym and he was doing the practice pads, the one with the thing, and then he
Yeah,
just go
yeah,
like this. He started slow and then boom, boom, boom. And within seconds, he's going to town. And you're looking at this guy and you're like, okay, he can't be like, your mind thinks, okay, he's old, he's
yeah.
frail, or whatever. And then when he shows you he's a coach, and it's just like when we come back to logistics, I see when my bosses have become why they became the best sales managers in the company. When they're on a call, the charisma they have and things like that. And that's why I genuinely like hearing that about people, like why they got into what they like and why they're so good at it, and understanding that thought process for you. So thank you for sharing that, man. I really love that. And I learned that the dog supplies, I know that if I know the story, but if you want to share with the audience a little bit about your history with dogs, Jack Russells.
Yeah. So for 18 years, I raised, bred, showed, and hunted Jack Russell Terriers, and we were the second on the breed registry for the Westminster Kennel Club for Jack Russell Terriers, the JRTBA Breed Association. I belong to the JRTCA. I won the nationals with my dog. Hunted them all over the place, and really neat. They used to go underground, and they hunted red fox, gray fox, raccoon, woodchuck, muskrat, and a few other things as well. And we used to put radar collars on them, and they would go into the groundhog hole or a foxhole, and it's really neat. The dens down there. I mean, just think of an ant farm, and you've probably seen it when you're growing up with all these mazes of holes and everything. So we used to bring French hole diggers, and we used to dig maybe 40, 50 of them, because the radar collars, we would walk the grounds, they'd be underneath the ground, and you would hear the beep of their radar collar stop, and it would be like a silent, it's almost like a metal detector, and it's a tone where they're on the prey. They got whatever it is down there. That I used to look at the holes, and I could tell whether it was a fox, a raccoon, or whatever it might be that was living in it. And because I was a hunting judge as well. And the thing is that we would dig the holes, and then we put our arm down, and we would grab the dog's tail and pull him up, and then you would know you got something, because it's like, you got some muscles to pull this freaking thing out, and it's like a suction cup when they come out of the hole, and they got a woodchuck, that's just annihilated. Because I don't know, a lot of people don't know that, but Jack Russell Terriers have clamp power as strong as a pit bull, 1,200 pounds per square inch, and a little dog like that. And the history of the Jack Russell Terrier was way in the 1800s over in Europe. The huntsmen, you've seen them on the horses with the red coats. They used to chase the fox, and then what they do with a little satchel on the side of it, they take this Jack Russell Terrier out, and they would drop it on the ground when the fox went into a stump, a hole, piece of wood into a hole. And what they did was they chased them out. So the hunt chased them out of the hole, so the hunt can continue. And then one time, the Jack Russell tasted blood, and the rest was history. They were pure killers, and they went down there and did that. So a lot of the farmers around up here in Sussex County and everything used to give us a call, and we used to go out there and eradicate the problems that help them get rid of all the woodchucks and everything. So I had 12 Jack Russells in my house, all show quality, all alphas, high-strung fighting machines that would just take you out, man. They weren't little ankle biters, I'll tell you that right now. So
Yeah, not the ones you see now.
no, so after my last dog died, I told my wife, I said, it's time. I didn't like the way the judging was going and all of that. And I haven't been in Westminster for over 8 years, 9 years now. And so I said, you know what? We're out of Jack Russells. We're done. Everything closed, everything down. And I said, I want a big dog. I want a mastiff, a bull mastiff, a pit bull or something like that. So funny, I'm in the shower. My wife knocks on the door, and she goes, someone's here to see you. And I was like, what? And next thing you know, long story short, this little puffball about this big walks into that, and she says, here's your new friend. And she got me a Pomeranian. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, oh, so the rest is history, and he's still with me today, and he's 14 years old now, but a lot of fun. So
See, that's
every
amazing
weekend
to
I
hear.
did that while I was in logistics. I used to pack my car up after I got out of Onkyo USA, where I used to work for about 11 years. Pack up my truck and head to London, Ontario, Canada. To start, I drove from New Jersey at 7 o'clock, got there at 3 o'clock in the morning, got to the hotel, slept 2 hours, got to the site, Northwinds Farms in London. You can go look it up. It's where Northern Dancer, the Derby, Kentucky Derby winner, is buried. And
Oh, really?
set up, go out there, race the dogs. We used to race them too. That's another story. And yeah, and then pack up at the end of the day and head back to New Jersey. So interesting time in my life.
Let's see. And those are the things, like for me, if I was you, Jeff, and I know, hey, this is no advice at all, but that story, those two stories, like, art and dog supplies, like you should be crushing the high end art exhibits and the dog supply industry and logistics, be crushing it. You just have that,
People
and
have
that's what
asked
the
me
way.
that. The people
Yeah.
has asked me that because I've got big, huge distributors that are around me that I could just go in there and annihilate if I wanted to. But it's just something I don't want to do. I mean, it's like I enjoy what I'm doing right now. It's like if I wanted to, I could. I know I could, but I don't have any interest in that right now.
Yeah, you just never know, right? And for me, that's how I kind of lead myself, in terms of like logistics, things that I can talk about for hours and hours on end. So I thought that was amazing, kind of see. Jeff, what was the kindest thing a stranger did for you?
Hmm. Just said something nice. They didn't even know that. It was like from a conversation, just like a ad hoc conversation, and you're a nice guy or something like that. It's just like, you don't I don't ask for accolades. I just do
No,
what
no,
I do
no, yeah,
best.
yeah,
It's just like, yeah, I mean, to have that kind of stuff. I know what you're saying, but yeah, just like a helpful hand or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I always like the kind of person that I had this giant ass snowblower where I used to live before I moved here. And I would do my driveway and I would start going up and down the road and doing all my neighbors' driveways for nothing, asking for nothing. I was just that type of person, especially the older folks that were out there. That I see them out there with a shovel and steep driveway, and they're in their 70s and 80s, and I was like, no, I'll have this done in 15 minutes, and I was always that type of person, always helping others. I would take care of myself first to get myself out of the driveway, and then I'd be like, "Hey, honey, I'm going up the road. I'm taking care of whatever. I'm taking care of that," And then they would always, the old lady would come down the road with dinner for us and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
Unexpected. And it's just like I didn't ask for that kind of stuff, but I'll tell you, if you just give from your heart and don't
yep.
expect anything back, man, things just start happening, my friends. They really do.
I'm smiling, and the reason why I asked that because it's like it's what I believe in. When you truly do something for someone else. A conversation I had with a friend yesterday, I was asking him that, hey, whenever somebody gives you a compliment, what do you do? And a lot of things that is kind of programmed within us, Jeff, is to kind of deflect a compliment. If I was to be like, "Hey, Jeff, you're a really nice guy," you'd find a reason to like. How often are people saying thank you so much for saying that? Most people, like, if my wife does this actually all the time, where like, hey, somebody will compliment her on her like dress or like her outfit, and then she'll say, "Hey, I got this from so and so," kind of deflecting rather than "thank you so much." And I feel like when you look at it from like a higher power, like a spiritual thing, when necessarily God, but like any kind of higher power wants to kind of give you something, accept, receive that. And like you were kind of saying, like, with being like the snowblower and going there and helping out everybody, and then people bringing out lunches and things like that, and things for you. It's like, you do good for people, and then things will come back tenfold. I've never given something and expected to get something back. Those opportunities, it came back tenfold. It might not come back right away. Like, maybe my neighbor, if I shovel my neighbor's driveway, I hope maybe they bring their famous chocolate chip melted cookies over. But if they don't, then maybe they'll bring it at the barbecue next year, right? So I think it's really important to always kind of be kind, and that kind of goes back to the conversation that I said, like, if my revenue went up, who would how would that highlight me as a person? Would that highlight me as a person as being a giver, or is that going to be somebody who's a taker? And I think there's two different things, and that's why I love that you're on like Hold My Beer and things like that, because you guys are all givers. Every single one of you guys, like Tony Darnell, Nerf was on there, the other guy, and then TJ as well. You guys, and Luis as well. Luis is one of a really, really cool giver, and to give that content.
Yeah. You know what? I'm looking at Nerf's comment there, and I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about. It says, I would sell tea and jackfruit. What's jackfruit?
You don't know what jackfruit is? You got to look that up, man. It's is it native to? No, it's native to Europe, but jackfruit's like it's a plant. It's like it's kind of like, if you've ever had it, it's kind of like eating bubble gum. It's a fruit, first of all.
Really?
Yeah, but it has like bulbs. It has bulbs in it, and then if you ate it, it tastes like those. Remember those Hubba Bubba pink Bubblicious?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It tastes exactly. It's way too sweet though. Like it's but it's amazing. But yeah, you should try it. It's you know what? They actually use jackfruit as like a lot of vegans. Like I've had it myself. They'll have it as like their pulled pork. So if you cook it, it has a consistency of like pulled pork and like meat and stuff like that. It has a meaty texture. So yeah, see, yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's
Wow.
see, it's
like kiwi. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
I have to try that, man. I'm serious. I never heard of that. So every day you learn something new, and I just learned something good. It's like bananas and plantains. Two different types of things. And I mean, I love Dominican, Puerto Rican hot food and stuff like that. And that's when I had my first plantain, and then on top of that, some other Puerto Rican food, and I was like, I'm in, man. This stuff is awesome.
Well, have you noticed with like, it's the same thing with like Guyana and Trinidad as well? Like, haven't you noticed like, if like, especially in Dominican and stuff like, in Costa Rica and things like that, they don't have like obesity, because they're eating good food, like they're eating like root vegetables like edos and like plantains and sweet potatoes and things like that. So oh my god, you know what?
Hey, look, I love ever meet my wife, I love habanero sauce, man. It's just like,
do you love durian? Have you ever heard of durian before?
Durian, no. But
can we ship durian? Nerf, can we ship Nerf? Like, I think it's one of those fruits you legally can't ship. It's we won't tell you what it is, but maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll get that on a live episode.
I don't know. I'm willing to try it, because it was really funny when I used to go over my friend's house, and his wife was Dominican and he was Puerto Rican. And we literally had to have a case of beer next to us, because as soon as we started eating her food, man, we start sweating just like that. I mean, just our foreheads start dripping. And it was habanero and something else that she had in it, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, durian's not spicy. Durian's a fruit.
Some Indian food too. I enjoy. I can't remember the stuff, but it was really, really hot. Like not curry, something that it was some type of spice that you start sweating when you smell it before you even taste it. It was that kind of, you know what I mean? I forgot.
Yeah. I'm West Indian, so I'm not really too sure. But we have some spicy. We eat a lot of spice. Funny enough, I got married to somebody who doesn't handle spice, so it's always a nice balance when my wife doesn't like any spice, and I definitely do. But yeah, we've got to get durian. Yeah, we'll figure that out. We'll figure out a live. You're coming up to Toronto eventually.
Eat this on the show or what?
Yeah. It's got to be an experience.
See me go through pain.
Well, it's not pepper. It's not pepper. It's and don't Google it. So we'll definitely do that.
I promise. I won't even. I'll forget it.
Yeah. Forget it from there. And
it's like what's that? Is it as bad as the one chip challenge? You've seen
it's not spicy. Like it'll get spicy out of your mind. It's not spicy at all. It's a fruit. We'll just leave it as a fruit, but it's something that is very native. I think it comes from Thailand. I think it does. The only times I've seen it, it's so bad, Jeff.
So it's like, it's so bad. So it's got a little Thai in it, or something like that, or
what does that mean? What is a little Thai in
it? Is it hot? I mean, is it like a hot?
Whatever. Nothing to do with hot. It's a fruit. Think of like an apple or something like that. It's an apple that's not spicy at all. Like, I'm being serious with you. It has nothing to do with spice, but it's well, I might as well just tell you. Yeah, it's I believe in Thailand. I've only seen it in freezers at my ethnic, like the Asian grocery stores in my area, but we have access to everything.
Get out
So
of here.
I,
Local villages have wars over it. What? Serious.
should we tell them Nerf, or I don't know. I feel like
Like
we
gold?
should. It's a weapon. It could be used as a weapon. Let's just say that. It's yeah, yeah. Okay, let's put it there. So it's a fruit, Jeff, that is the smell of it. People have compared it to like baby diapers. It smells disgusting. But people have eaten it and they like the flavor of it. It's very earthy. I personally haven't tried it. But it's well, I'll send you a
It's
video
like
after.
it's in the category of sardines.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, yeah.
I
We'll
mean,
leave
you
it
know,
at
when
that.
you open up a can of sardines, I mean, no pun intended, but you're opening up a can of sardines. It's just like, and
This
there's
is
like
what
the
you're
worst smelling fish out there. I forgot the name of it. It just like
what is
it like makes you want to throw up when you even get like a sniff of it. It's so
so
bad.
that's what durian is. Yeah, yeah, you'll yeah, it's
Oh man.
yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. So, but we'll definitely have to try it. You know, we've already kind of committed to it, so that's what we
Uh,
do here at Sales Chatter. Jeff, what are you getting up to on this weekend, my friend?
Not much. Just gonna hang out, relax, if possible. I have no idea what my wife has in store, so I don't know. Just go with the flow. How about you? What are you doing, man? Let me guess. You're going to some type of dog event. Come on, man. Right?
No, not this weekend. Actually, tomorrow we're celebrating my mom's 65th birthday. We're having a big party at our temple. So we've got a ton of
Nice.
people
Happy
coming.
birthday to her.
Yeah, oh, thank you, thank you. It's a big milestone, and we're just so excited that she's made it. And she's happy and healthy. And what's funny with my mom? My mom is pretty religious, and so for any time we're like, hey, let's throw a party. Like 65 is coming up, let's throw a party. Let's go away or something like that. And she's like, no, I just rather do it with God. And I'm like, all right, cool, we'll do that. So we've got tons of people coming. We're gonna celebrate that, and then I'd like to say we'd
Sure.
like to do something on Sunday, but Sunday we'll be recovering. So we're going to be at our temple tomorrow. And actually, after this, around, go grab the cake and all the flowers and all that stuff. So I'm on sun duties after the show
That's
today.
right. You're on task duty.
I made my list and I'm checking it twice to make sure that we don't forget
Yeah,
anything.
don't be naughty. Just be nice.
Don't be naughty. So Jeff, next week, like we said, with our theme, the theme of the week is going to be kind of balancing. I think we should name it balance. So I'd love to kind of talk about, you got some loads under your belt. How are you going to balance your work life career? And then we're going to be talking about things like client retention. So some of the topics that you really, really love and can dive deep into. Next week is your week, Jeff. So it's the week to. It's gonna be fun, man. You're gonna love it. The audience is gonna love it. Give us feedback on what you guys kind of think, because the way that we're kind of treating this show, and we're being completely honest here, is that we're treating it like a TV show. We're gonna go ham for like one season, so our season, and we'll have a season finale, and then we'll start fresh in a couple weeks again. We'll still have the show every single day, but we're having these themes and we're having this, and I think there's a little bit more structure into that as we're talking about today. But it's a lot of fun.
I think we should call it client for life retention mindset. How to have that mindset to be able to have that client for life, in your corral for a long, long time, because it is all about building long-term business relationships. And how do you go about doing so? That's
right, let's not give away the secret a little too much, but we'll definitely go with that. So awesome. So we want to thank everybody for coming out this week. It's been a lot of fun. Like we said, thank you to Nerf for being here yesterday and always being supportive with us. Thank you to Daman, our corporate sponsor at American Logistics and Centurion Trucking, for being amazing as you always are. He is looking for agents across North America, I believe, and they're paying up to 60% GP. Think about that. 60%. You get to work with him and his amazing team. They'll take you to the next level. And that's sometimes you need that push in life. So with that being said, catch the replay, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And we'll see you guys on Monday. I think you're going to be on Trey's show today, I think, Jeff?
Yes, I am. Yep.
What time is that?
Yeah, Trey won't be there. But
we got the Freight Sensei. You got Freight Sensei showing up, right?
Oh, yeah. Good old Scott, man. Good guy.
Yeah,
Scott. He'll be there. Absolutely.
Awesome. So with that being said, catch Jeff. What time is it?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Check him on 1 o'clock. He'll post it on YouTube or post on LinkedIn. You'll be able to see that, and you get to see the Freight Sensei, and it's a lot of fun. So with that being said, everybody have an amazing, a blessed day. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you guys on Monday. Take it easy, guys.
Have a great day. Enjoy that weekend, folks.